Starting the video transmission, and it looks like we are live. Haha, my voice sounds way more child-friendly. Wait,
and then there's my voice, which pretty much destroys everything.
I bet you get demonetized a lot, don't you, Animat?
I
mean, like, you can't talk about Disney without getting demonetized. Talking about children's media, you expect to
I was
get
actually
paid for
wondering
that?
about that earlier when I was checking your channel out. I'm like, how do you do so much Disney? How do you cover so much Disney? 11 hours worth of Disney without, Susan knocking on your door with a baseball bat.
It's pretty simple. You try to look into the facts that are more adult oriented, like you figure out about some deleted scene where Michael Eisner wanted to have all the Disney princesses in some kind of wedding ritual while all of them are pregnant, and you're pretty much good to go, where there's like some bits of adult side to it.
You lost me.
I'm not even making that up. That's all true, by the way.
Anywho, I'm going to just quickly introduce everyone to who is here, and so they know who's talking. The guy with the higher pitched voice, that is Animat. He was in the last video. He is super cool and radical. And the other guy is AXEMAN, who I will be from this point referring to as Axedad. And he is the guy who did the animations for the creepy character that you see that everyone thought like looked so fluent. That's the guy who did it, and I need to get more from him because he's brilliant and deserves my money and is amazing and perfect.
Oh, thank you.
Like, have you ever seen those Michelangelo like pictures of like, God touching the human, the naked dude on the cloud? Yeah, that dude on the cloud is AXEMAN.
What is he doing?
This is gonna go straight to my head.
This is just gonna go straight to my head.
Yeah. You can't take me away. I touched God once.
Axedad also did the thumbnail that you are seeing now on screen. Look at everyone looking at me with problematic expressions like, yes, creepy. Just dropping, like, hard slurs here. Like, what's wrong with you? We are live. I'm like, what's wrong? what's going on?
Well, you gotta look at it from this perspective. From the outsider looking in, me and Animat are normal human beings, and you are just a dude all mummified and wrapped up. Matt's standing up straight. I'm holding a glass of water.
I'm like, welcome.
It's like we're listening to like a homeless person rant about the end of the world, and we're just like humoring him.
Yeah,
there's not like you're not like far off from that. So
it'll knock off hours of our community service. Don't worry.
So anyway, we're going to be talking about some of the disturbing animations that didn't make it onto the list, just because I think it would be fun to like talk about some of those, because I still had to watch the movie. Right, I didn't just watch 12 movies and then, like, write a video about it, right? No, I watched, like, probably 15, 16 movies, all of which I had to buy because, like, with disturbing media, it's like, oh, it's only in French and only on iTunes if you're an American swine. And it's like, well, I guess I gotta buy it on iTunes. But iTunes is everything it can to make me not want to use iTunes. Like, by signing me out of it regularly, by not making the playlist features work, by, like, forcing me to confirm my account every 3 seconds.
So what you're trying to say is that Apple is not sponsoring this podcast?
What I'm saying is I wouldn't take Apple's money. Those people need to go away. Maybe it works better, like, on an actual Apple product. Like, maybe trying to use iTunes on my PC is just too much. But I don't know. I think if people can make video games that work on Macs, iTunes, the company behind Macs, should be able to make, like, an audio player. Like, I don't know. I can't... It was probably the most frustrating experience trying to do this. Not to mention... because of the encryption that Apple uses for the iTunes, I can't exactly just screen record the video so I can get footage to work with. So I had to spend another $40 on like a program specifically for the purposes of getting access to the cartoons I wanted to talk about, because who the fuck is uploading extra copies of fucking Fears of the Dark to the internet? No one is. No one's talked about this film since 2007.
Yeah, it's true. Sometimes when they're hard to find, it could be an adventure in itself just to go and find them.
So all in all, I spent like $80 to... Also, I accidentally bought Watership Down like twice, even though I own it on DVD. So I own 3 times the amount of Watership Down I used to. God, I feel like I'm getting COVID. Oh, demonetized.
You're done.
Done. I fucked it up.
Which one? Well, wait, what's
Back it up,
the
boys.
channel or you?
Both. I'm ready to work here at this gas station, sir. Sorry, you've been demonetized. You can still work, but I'm not paying you. Like, imagine if any other like profession worked that way. Like, oh man.
Work. Your manager called you into his office. Hey, I see you got a copyright strike on your video about creepy TV commercials. We're gonna have to dock your pay at least for 3 months.
3 months. I mean, you're still gonna have to work the same amount of hours. You're just gonna get paid like you worked half of them.
So you quit and get a new job at the interview. I see here that you were demonetized for a copyright strike. So I have some good news for you, and I got some bad news.
Jesus fucking Christ. We're just talking about YouTube shenanigans. There's a lot of hoops and hooplas we have to like kind of jump through in order to make it like work. And you know, like if the same stuff happened at any other job, it would be absolutely hell. Like, oh man, you were listening to what was that? 3 Doors Down during your shift today? I'm sorry, but can't do that.
That song stuck in your head for 3 days? What did I hum it? No, but we knew it was stuck in your head. It influenced the cadence of your voice.
Either way, they're suing us, so we're gonna have to let you go. Ah, God. But anyone can do it. It would be funny if like customers did that too. Like, oh, it looks like you got copyright striked again, and then it's just like, hey, I'm the customer that did it. It's because you didn't give me a lemon sandwich the way I wanted it to. Because you know customers will do that. Oh my God.
Oh, they
customers
would.
are... If anyone here has ever worked retail, the worst people on the planet are customers. Consumers, anyone who's consumed anything, and that includes you too. You're also
Yeah.
bad.
Oh my God. You give those people power like that, and I mean, they could just easily ruin you on the spot just for like the most minor things.
Seriously. They can like in YouTube, anyone could copyright strike anything. And honestly, it will be more detrimental for me to pursue legal action over it than it will be for me to just wait it out. And people will use that to punish people they don't like. So imagine if that was like applied to like the sandwich guy at Subway. That would be hell.
Well, I think the PR nightmare that they had to deal with was bad enough.
Oh, absolutely, man. Ugh.
Nah, my Great Book of Grudges here just commented, and he's a cool dude I watch a lot. He covers Warhammer, and apparently he even has to deal with demonetization by talking about Warhammer, like total Warhammer games. It's like, oh, you used the word war in while talking about wargaming, tabletop, demonetized. No one's gonna touch your shit.
I mean, all I can speculate at this point is that they applied a poorly tested system onto YouTube, and they're testing it as they go. And The optimist in me wants to say that, 15, 20, 30, 2,000 years from now, they'll actually get it right.
I'm hoping that they will too. It's been getting better. I remember when I got demonetized. When the entire channel got hit when the first adpocalypse happened, and because I had the word creepy in all of my tags.
Ouch.
Because my channel's called That Creepy Reading, every single one of my videos got demonetized, and I had to request a manual review for every single one of them. Let's just say most of my catalog is still like demonetized because you only can get a review if you make X amount of views in a certain amount of time. So just like a lot of my older, more popular videos didn't do that at that time, so I couldn't request a review.
Yeah, that is just a nightmare. Like even believe it or not,
I went from affording rent to needing 2 jobs. Like overnight. It was absolutely the most horrifying thing ever.
Oh yeah, like it has happened to me as well a few times where like I would get like those claims. Like even the Ralph Bakshi videos that I've done, the first one actually, like it was becoming a massive viral hit and becoming more and more popular, but then suddenly everything stopped when it was age restricted immediately. And I try to file like a dispute about it, saying that it's for educational purposes, and I did put in effort to like censor the actual nudity and stuff like that. And oh my god, I probably got the most douchebaggy response from YouTube saying like, "Oh yeah, no, you're absolutely right on everything, but we're just gonna keep it there anyway." So yeah, all right, too bad. It's like, really?
I'm sorry that this has happened to you. We'll try to be better.
Yeah.
Then they go do cocaine. Did I just demonetize your podcast?
This god, yeah. I don't think I've ever had a video age restricted, but I've had a few videos that I really didn't think need to be demonetized, and I've had videos I thought should be demonetized, not demonetized. Because I don't know, like the accidents, the roller coaster theme park accidents, like that got demonetized, and it's like I'm not showing like actual people getting hurt. I'm just talking about what led to these accidents happening. Like I'm showing footage of the ride. I'm showing footage of like the ride like fucking up and all that jazz. I'm not even like using swear words, and YouTube's like, yeah, demonetize this shit. Like, but why though? What's wrong with it? Are we not allowed to call out corporations for letting people die for no reason?
I think you just answered that question right there.
Damn. Guys, you're not allowed to call out corporations.
I mean, who takes more priority than the creators? The corporations.
I mean, if I'm not mistaken, doesn't YouTube make all the doesn't YouTube generate all its revenue from ads anyways?
It does.
So then the ads are the customers and we are the product. So and they're going to start being selective about what they want their ads to be projected on. Or at least that's what I thought for a while, until they decided they're going to project ads on your videos regardless of whether or not you're monetized.
I think that's a way for them to make more money while also being able to have like a degree of separation from...
It's to lessen the consequences that they would receive.
I hear a lot about something called ad buys, and I'm so confused about ad buys. Like, why would YouTube put ads on someone who isn't being monetized at all over someone who is being monetized? Like, if there's a chance that someone won't see an ad on my channel because someone else who isn't monetized gets an ad, that's like, well, thanks, jackass. I don't know. It's just, the only one who benefits from that relationship is definitely YouTube.
Actually, you know what? One thing that I can say is like pretty hypocritical. Speaking of the ads, it's like even the ads themselves can be extremely questionable. Like, right. Actually, yes. because just last night I actually did receive an ad for like this anime game, not online game, but like this anime app game, and the way they advertised it was like shady as hell, because like it's the kind that's like like trying to market towards horny like, you know, towards like horny teenagers and stuff. And like they were showing off like some of their characters. It's like they showed like this fairy. It's like this one has ice powers and she has a B cup. This one has the power of the forest and D cups. Or would you like the one with the fire powers with G cups? It's like, really, dude? It's like, this is the kind of ads you'd expect out of Kiss Cartoon, not freaking YouTube.
I really would love to have a Manscaped sponsorship, just so it can be like, if you don't want to nick your balls, get Manscaped. You know, like I don't know. There's something funny about
Lately,
about those advertisements. You could be a lot funnier with a Manscaped ad.
Oh, that's true. I mean, like they are. I'm starting to see them get. I'm starting to see them do advertisements on YouTube. I think Saberspark actually did get an ad. Did get a sponsorship with Manscaped, so it could be possible.
Anyone can actually like apply for it. If you go on Manscaped's like website, if you're a creator, you can apply for it. The one
Really?
thing I got one of my buddies to do a sponsorship with them, and like all he had to do was apply through their website. One of the people I really want to get sponsored by is Displate, because Displate is cool. I own Displates. I love Displates. I got Displates like right now that you can see. I'll quickly turn on the webcam real quick. But
Oh,
if
yes.
you're looking,
face reveal.
oh, I've already revealed my face. But if you're looking, I have Displates. I love these things. I want more of them. They are amazing. And I live in an apartment, so I'm not like supposed to be putting nails into the walls. So like the fact that they're like all magnets and stuff means that I can, do that a bit easier. And oh my god, Displates are amazing. Please sponsor me. That's all that's all I have to say on that.
Actually, there's one sponsorship that I would actually really like to get, and that is Makeship, because they actually make custom plushies, and that would actually be really cool. Like and I've seen a few people actually get they actually do have customized plushies. It's like, hey, buy me as a plushie and stuff. Like I would be down to have like one of them. So that's one that I would love to do. I don't know if that's one where you have to apply in order to do a collaboration, but I would be down to do that.
Oh god, yeah. I'm pretty sure those people just reach out.
Yeah, most likely.
But that said, it's pretty cool. Back to the original topic. Sorry I got so off topic, but YouTube is a fun mistress to discuss and talk about. Disturbing animations. Throughout the whole like video throughout the whole like last list video we did, we talked about some pretty crazy stuff. Honestly, it's probably one of the harder videos I had to make. I think I was rewriting the script and locking stuff in like all the way up to the last minute, including with like the bonus item, if anything happens I love you. I literally wrote that and edited that and narrated that the day it was supposed to go live.
Oh, dang.
So I was like literally I was like, it's like, okay, the video's done rendering, uploading a video now. And I wanted it to be up at like 3, but oh no, there's no way this thing's gonna be done processing by 3. So 4:15? Nope, not gonna be done. Gotta change it. And then the premiere went from 4:15 to 4:30, and that made a lot of people upset. So that's an apology on my end. I was literally up to the last wire trying to get that video out. Thank you, Elijah Collins, for the $1 super chat. You magical malignant nerd.
Can I get 27 cents of that?
Sure.
Thanks,
Yeah,
man.
you know what? One thing I gotta say though is that, like, yeah, it was a last minute thing to do. If anything happens, I love you. But I will say it was worth it, because holy crap, like
That
I
thing
can hear,
broke me.
Like I heard I heard the emotions coming from you on like when you were talking about it. Like, damn, it was like it was the most striking and probably the most powerful part of the video. Funny enough.
Yeah, that's because I wrote that like 5 minutes after I watched it, and then I rewatched it again, and then I recorded it. So it's like, so I was like, it was like kind of eating me up on the inside there a bit. And I thought, honestly, I think when you really do connect to something, the more natural recording of those like feelings, it really makes it stand out more, in my opinion.
True.
And like it makes it, kind of feel like less of a person talking at you through a TV and more like, yes, we're all people of the same species, and we all have like empathy and the same types of feelings. And I don't know, just for me, I try to include a more down to earth representation of the stuff that I like to cover, because like other people do it in the more mechanical of, this is a film where you go down, where the main protagonist goes down the hallway and then gets horribly murdered. Like that sort of stylistical, I don't even know how to talk about it. I'm drawing up a blank. But
it almost feels like they're using a template to convey your perspective on the video.
Right. It's not that there's no value in that. It's just more like, for me, when I'm doing like talking about cartoons, I want to convey the feeling that the cartoon conveys through my own video. So you could get like a taste of what you're expecting. Like the best like thimble of that project. And then that might make you want to go like, oh, let's Google this and let's go watch this. Because, like King of Pigs, that was absolutely fucking amazing. I can't believe I had not seen it before. But it was a real wild ride, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, that was the one. Like when we would have like these Discord chats. That's the one that you often talked about the most, and probably the one that you can like, other than Watership Down, probably the one that you really love so much.
Yeah, it's good because like it's about like these kids who are dealing. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, we got our super chat, Dalton Harmon. Thank you for your $2 super chat. I really appreciate the crap out of you. But yeah, with this, with the King of Pigs one, it's miserable. Honestly, the best way to describe it is, if you've seen that movie, The Joker, the feeling at the end of that movie is kind of like how you feel throughout the entire film. It's misery and dread, and like I couldn't help but get the feeling that I was watching someone get almost like radicalized into like a school shooter or something like that. Someone who's like about to go postal, and what it takes to break someone over your knee that hard to get them to do that, and what societal pressures can lead to someone developing that kind of mindset. And it's never like really gratuitous about the way it presents itself. It's very much like it feels like I'm watching kids being dicks to each other, and it very much like the logical progression is there. It doesn't feel like a guy going like, yes, I want to make something awful and fucked up. It definitely feels like someone who had a vision and wanted to execute that well, and it just so happened the dude that did it also made one of the best zombie movies of the last like 20 years. So, yeah, Young Sang-ho, he's absolutely amazing, and more people need to watch that film. It's just, yeah, there's a brutal cat stabbing scene, and I don't think I could get away with telling people to go look this up without talking about the cat stabbing scene, because a lot of people are like, oh, animals, they're hurt. No, thank you.
It's funny, real quick. It's real funny that you mentioned that the cat gets stabbed. It's like I'm watching a clip of it right now as you're talking, and I just saw a dog rip a cat in half.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's pleasant.
Also, these are all supposed to be children, but they have the faces of 45-year-olds.
Yeah, that's another thing too. It's the way the fucking animation's done.
I like it.
I like it.
Honestly.
It looks unique.
Oh, yeah.
I can
I'm not
point
saying
at
that
this.
derogatory. I think it's really good.
I can point at this and be like, look, it's not just anime bullshit, you know? Because
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
not.
like it has a taste. Yeah, it has a taste of that Asian style animation, but like you could tell that it is distinctly different than the typical Japanese anime look that you normally see.
Yeah,
Oh,
which
dude.
I'm not really into that look. Just like the standard anime look, it just feels too broad and open.
Okay, so we got two super chats. I'm gonna go over the bigger one first. Elijah Collins at $20. Of course, 27 cents goes to Dark Axeman. And he says, "You and Blame It on George are my favorite YouTubers, and you've earned this cash. And I appreciate the living crud out of you, Elijah." I think Elijah actually might be a Patreon, so this is like even more money on top of that, which is like, wow. I don't know how people still support me, honestly.
You gotta send him a gift basket.
And then Knit Guy said, "Thanks for your work and helping the autism community. While I don't really think I'm helping the autism community by existing and being autistic, I do like it when representation is done right. I'm a very big advocate of doing representation right. You know, I don't think it's okay to have like a token character and be like, look, you're represented. Cool. Now let's follow the white straight guy. I prefer like I'm also not saying that we need to have like a quota or like need to say that representation definitely needs to happen in everything. Just that it would be cool if we had more movies that covered a different range of perspectives. That's all I'm saying. And I liked Mary and Max because it gave us that perspective, a completely interesting way to view these two characters and what happens to them and the way that they present these scary, dark ideas with both humor and abject misery is unique. And it was a very fun watch, but it also was sad. Really sad.
Yeah,
Mary
that
Max
is
good.
true. I mean, another one that well, there are a couple of animated shorts that I could recommend as well that do have autism representation, or at least like in terms of the characters. One is called Loop, which is pretty well known to actually discuss about autism, and another one,
What was that called?
a Loop, like
Loop.
literally just Loop, Loop. And another one is Float, which like people could correct me if I'm wrong, but that's another one where it actually has the kid who has autism is represented by a kid who just floats. Like he would just keep flying everywhere, and it shows how a parent would have to deal, or well, not deal, but would live with a kid who would just keep on floating, and there would be both the hardships and like the tender moments that would come with it.
It's also a lot. Okay, so I got a $5 super chat that has some pretty spicy drama in it, so I'm just gonna go deal with this real quick because I really do. Why are you giving Cosmodor a chance when he still did something terrible in the case? In the use cause the law applies to the victim, not okay. That's a little bit flawed. I'm not giving Cosmodor a chance. I briefly talked to him when I heard he was coming back, and I wanted to basically say, stop doing children's media and fuck off. And he said that he was going to do that, and then he started making fun of the idea that groomers exist. And then he started being a cunt, and then he got banned off of Twitter. And I'm kind of like seeing what he's going to do.
Wait, he got banned off of Twitter? Really?
Yeah, because he kept spamming like posts that basically made fun of the idea that groomers exist. Like, what a fucking...
Who is this guy?
His name's
Oh,
Cosmodor.
long story. Long story.
Long story short, turns out he was grooming a minor, and like he got canceled for it, and then he started dissing on the idea of cancel culture. Like he wouldn't apologize for it. Like the dude's weird, he's creepy, he's a stalker, he's mean to his friends. Like as a person, both a content creator and a person, he's deeply unpleasant. Horribly unpleasant. And that caught up with him. People didn't want to be on his side because he's a very, very nasty person, and he does a lot of lying, and generally speaking, not a cool dude. I don't like him.
And one thing I do have to say is that nowadays, whenever I hear people talk about Cosmodor, mention about like the latest thing that he uploaded on YouTube, I always have the same kind of reaction. It's very similar to what Yzma said in The Emperor's New Groove. It's just, he's still alive?
Yeah, I'm just, at this point, I'm just kind of waiting until he pulls a Leafy and does something to get his own channel, like, taken down.
I mean, eventually. I mean, like, he's
either going to he's either going to abandon it, or he's going to keep uploading to it without acknowledging anything, or he's going to double down like he has been at every chance he had, and he's just going to get, like, nailed. You know, like I don't see his channel going. Oh, and then he also changed his profile picture back to the character, despite telling me that the reason why he changed it is because it made the victim feel bad and gave them panic attacks. I guess you're just, either way. Long story short, Cosmodor sucks, and we all agree that, except for maybe Axeman, who doesn't know enough about the situation to.
Sounds like a kind of like a sunken cost type deal where like you've come this far and
right. It's like a cost fallacy. All I know is that he ruined Case Closed for me, and I will never forgive him.
Yeah, he's basically becoming one of those like anti-cancel culture people where it's just mainly because his hatred for cancel culture is because he flat out refuses of facing the consequences to his own actions.
Right. Either way, Mime Gaming, considering that you paid $10 to hear that opinion, there you go. Cosmodor sucks, and we all agree that. I only wanted to try to reach out to him to see if I could mitigate his damage, you know, because I felt bad that he was trying to manipulate people and wanted to see what I could do to help. And the answer is I've learned that he is kind of a fucking monster. So,
well, I mean, you should have had that expectation going in.
I did, but I was hoping that, you know, if you talk to someone and, you know, really, really have a conversation and try to get on the same level, that maybe you could curve some of the more problematic behavior. But he seemed to be far more interested in, how do I explain it? Yeah, he seemed to be interested in saving his reputation and just telling me what I wanted to hear. I have our conversation recorded. I'm probably never gonna release it because there's just no reason to release that. Like the guy, all he does is lie.
Don't do that.
All he does is lie, and it would just be a 40-minute video of me going like, "Look, he lied here. Here's the proof that he lied." And I read, if I'm going to talk about Cosmodor, it's probably going to be in the worst YouTuber list, or he might get his own list because I know he's been doing some crazy shit, and you know, that some of that needs to come out. But other than that, back to disturbing cartoons. Axeman, you said that you watched you wanted to talk about a few crazy stuff or a few interesting ideas that wasn't necessarily part of the list.
Well, you said we were going to talk about creepy cartoons, so I immediately started racking my brains trying to think of all the creepy things that I've seen down, you know, over the years, and I can funnel it down to just a couple of videos, nothing on mainstream or anything like that. They're all just YouTube videos that I found, and the one that I would bring up first and foremost would be, and you have to forgive me if you already covered this, but it's called Blackwater Gospel.
Oh my God, we did. That was in but we haven't talked about it in the podcast. All we done is I worked with Mike O. I worked with Mike O once, and we did creepiest animations on the internet, and that was like an excuse for me to talk about my favorite internet animators like Lee Hardcastle, and God, we weren't talking at the time, and I missed my chance to talk about you. But I'm going to be doing a disturbing animations on the internet list again. But we did talk about Blackwater Gospel. Oh my God, that was absolutely beautiful. It's Borderlands meets horror, and I could never be more happy.
Yeah, I mean, like every character just looks like something out of like, I don't know, a Quake game or something, and just like the detail on their faces is just so off-putting. Not only that, but like not only is it like, you know, aesthetically gorgeous to look at, but like it touches on, you know, the flaw of the human condition, how easily scared everybody is, and how they bring about their own downfall and what have you.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. You see, I was gonna. For me, it was a choice between Blackwater Gospel and Mighty Antlers.
I haven't heard of
believe
Mighty Antlers. What's that?
I believe, and I can't confirm this, but I believe they're made from the same people. Mighty Antlers has a very similar style. Aesthetically, it's like
Oh
very
my
similar.
God, yeah.
And yeah, Mighty Antlers is just it's a very surreal short film about this guy. He sees a deer and he rams it, right? And instead of animating him going through the window and just like experiencing his damage, instead the deer transforms into a Wendigo, and the guy in the Wendigo, I believe I'm using that right. It's just a guy, you know, like a humanoid creature with antlers.
Yeah, Wendigo, yeah.
Yeah, I have it on the stream so the viewers can see it too. It's pretty it's pretty wild. That's a pretty cool design.
They beat the shit out of each other, but what I really like about it is that it's really hard to put into words, but I'll try my best here. It's basically tells the story of a man who went through his windshield after hitting an animal, but because like every piece of damage that this guy accumulates, damage to himself, damage to the car, resembles that of a man who flew through the windshield. And the deer beating the shit out of him is just like, you know, the deer just saying "fuck you" one last time before it dies. I don't know. It's like a story of karma or something, but that's my interpretation. I could be way off base with that one, but that's what I got.
It's very it's a very cool animation. It looks like. I'm definitely gonna have to watch it, and when we do disturbing animations on the internet again, we're going to have to talk about it. Oh my God, that looks creepy. Man, the guys who were behind Blackwater Gospel are absolutely brilliant.
That's what I love. The expressions, they're so awesome. Like the Wendigo is just like so sadistic. He's just like, yeah, buddy, we're doing this.
Yeah, buddy. What? Oh my God, that's.
And it's not like the main character, the guy behind the wheel, is like someone you want to root for. I mean, they establish really quickly that he's a piece of shit.
I mean, he looks like a piece of shit.
He willingly rams the deer.
Who the fuck does that, though? That's just going to do more damage to your car.
As you'll see at the end of the video.
Like, that's just going to damage your car, though. Either way, it looks like he got what he it looks like he got what he was getting. I like how when I looked up Mighty Antlers, the thing that popped up was a bunch of antler chandeliers that all cost like $12,000. So I'm never gonna buy that. That sounds horrible.
I mean, it depends on why you would need to buy it. I mean, if you're buying it for your own house, then you know why. But if you want a restaurant and you want to set it up there, could be a gimmick and conversation piece. I don't know.
It could be interesting.
Yeah.
I just know that someone's going to get impaled when it falls.
Well, that's already a setup for like a horror situation.
Like, the less my restaurant looks like a fucking horror movie, the better it is.
Yeah, it's like, you're preparing your restaurant. There we go. All ready for the Final Destination set.
Now, The person who actually originally we had a different item on the disturbing animations list for like originally it wasn't going to be Waltz with Bashir, but instead it was going to be this one thing that I saw Steve reviews that had like a stop motion animated scene. I don't know how to say it without, so I'm just gonna give you guys a big old trigger warning right now. But it had like a stop motion animated rape scene, and I was like, oh, well, this would be something that I could watch and cover because that sounds really fucked up. And then Animat then when I was like doing the lines and figuring out who was going to be narrating what, I realized that Animat would be covering that segment, and I was like, okay. So, Animat, do you have like anything that would fit better for you since you're the one covering this? And he's like, watch the Bashir or this other film that I didn't see.
Yeah, I recommended. Yeah, if I remember, I recommended Waltz with Bashir. I don't know if I was the one who recommended Coonskin or you wanted to add that already.
I wanted to add that already because I watched your animation look back and I was like, this is something I really want to talk about.
Okay, yeah. And then the other one was Waking Life by Richard Linklater, which I'll talk about it a little later as like
is that that rotoscope movie?
Yes.
I've
yes,
seen that a long time ago. I remember that movie.
Oh my god! Wow, someone else actually remembers it. But yeah. Go on with the Waltz with Bashir one.
Yeah. Like, how did you discover that one?
Me with Waltz with Bashir, I have heard about it mainly through the Oscars because it's the only animated feature actually nominated for Best International Feature Film. And there was at one point I got curious to just check it out, so I got it either on DVD or Blu-ray, and it was I think more than 10 years ago, but it was an amazing feature, and it was a true eye opener. And admittedly, for several years I haven't seen it since, and it wasn't until for this video that I decided to go and rewatch it, and then that's when I understood the true power. It's like, oh yeah, okay, it definitely deserves a spot here.
Yeah, Watch It Bashir was probably the funnest one to edit. I really enjoyed putting that one together because the animation was great. There's like all these establishing shots that look beautiful.
Oh yeah.
And I was able to like use a lot of those to be like, hey, this is what you're missing out on. And I don't know, it was a really good one. I will say though that it was because of segments like Waltz with Bashir, the I think possibly King of Pigs, what's that one called? Last Day of Freedom, and If Anything Happens I Love You, that caused a few people in the comment section to call my channel nothing but leftist bullshit. And I thought, I don't know, AXEMAN, am I a horrible leftist? Like, is this what have I devolved into becoming a political commentator because of this video?
You're canceled.
Yeah, I have to get this off my chest, but those comments really hurt me because I was like, man, I'm trying to cover this.
Videos countering your points are being formulated. Formulated right now. I can't talk. A bunch of response videos are being made.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna say right now that the stuff that you have added in that seem like leftist propaganda or whatever, I call that amateur hour because I know even on my channel I've done way worse. Like I just heavily lean on like full on unapologetic fuck Trump shit. Like really just like completely unapologetic on it. So like if you are gonna lean on that thing, like might as well go like go heavy on it because you're gonna end up with the same kind of reaction anyways, where like the people who don't like it will get triggered and they'll just blow up in the comments.
For me, when I'm like covering media like this that's disturbing and political in nature, the only thing I really want to do is cover the viewpoint of the film. And if the film says systemic corruption in the police system led to basically an innocent person dying, or the failing of the mental health care system led to a veteran being, basically committing a crime that he really shouldn't have had to have committed, given, like, if he was actually well treated, well taken care of. It's like, that's the viewpoint of the film. And all I'm saying is that's what this film says. So when someone's like, "Oh man, this is all political bullshit," it's like, yeah, the film is political. I'm sorry. I also had a few people who were like, "Oh, haha, you mentioned that Jimmy Screamer Claus, the guy who does LSD and mushrooms, made an anti-religious film. Why are you so anti-religious?" And I'm like, I made no claim to my own viewpoint on that. I mentioned that someone else made a movie that has this theme.
You're still entitled to your perspective on things, and you have every right in the world to say how you feel about the things that you see. And if they want to get mad at you over that, that's more on them than it is on you.
Yeah,
I mean,
basically,
they loved everything you said until you got to that one specific tiny piece of the puzzle, and then you went in a different direction that they would have gone in, and now suddenly you are worthy of their animosity.
Yeah, it's like, why would you even get mad about? I'm not even saying this is my viewpoint. I'm just warning other people that this is what the film is about. I'm not even necessarily warning, just saying, hey, this is a film that's about criticizing religion, and it's actually okay.
No, I know how you feel, because like basically they're just getting angry at the messenger. They're not getting angry at the message itself. I've actually experienced that at one point. Like when I did animation look back on Ralph Bakshi and talked about Coonskin, and I was talking about the history of it and how like it got all that backlash and stuff like that. And there was at one point when I talked about how that the Republicans back then, they adored Coonskin because they misinterpreted it as a racist film. Like it's the kind of film that loves racism and that loves wearing blackface and stuff like that. And I've had many conservatives pissed off at me for saying that. And I was just there like, well, I mean, it's like, I'm just stating the facts. I don't know why you're getting pissed off at me for it. I'm just telling it like it is.
I'm telling you what historically happened, like, and with the Coonskin one, I could see, I knew that one was going to be controversial because there's people on both camps that hate it. And I can't talk about that film without being hated by everyone. But that said, most people are rational. Most people can hear about something and then understand that it's not necessarily an endorsement from me, just that I'm talking about what the film has to say and what the original intentions that the creator had. Now, if you don't believe that was the intentions of the creator, that's one thing. I'm just saying what he publicly on record said. I also included little bits where, like, yeah, this is when Nixon was president. The guy who, openly admitted to using the war on drugs to target black civil rights leaders and to take down hippie movements because,
Yep.
It's like that's undisputable. Who the hell is defending Nixon in 2021?
But then again, we are in an age where people seem to care more about winning the argument than actually facts.
Ain't that the truth?
Some people, like, they think they're capable of just, like, revising and doing whatever they want in order to fit more their narrative, more so than explaining what actually happened in real life, regardless if they approve of it or not.
Right. And it's just a little crazy for me. Now, I could understand why people might think that the Last Day of Freedom is more of the leftist-leaning type of viewpoint. But, like, again, it's like this is something that happened. A veteran who, went to Quezon and was probably part of MacArthur's 30, which is a troop that was comprised of mentally deficient, like mentally handicapped people, like almost entirely of people who cannot read, cannot tie their own shoes, that type of thing. And a lot of them died. And this guy was probably in that same regiment. And he probably saw a lot of fucked up shit. And he probably did not have the resources or really the ability to process that. And then he had a PTSD flashback, and then an all white, and then he killed a person, and then an all white jury was like, let's send him away for life instead of getting him help. And he got his Purple Heart taken away from him. Like, it's just, look, it's less of a situation of, how do I explain this? It's less about this corruption and all that, and more about the failure of mental health to help people like that. And I think over the years, especially since the 1970s and 80s, it's certainly gotten better. I think. I don't know. I wasn't born in the 70s or 80s to compare, but I'm hoping that in the last 40 years something has happened. And I guess a lot of people saw that.
I guess you could say it's kind of like the improvements on YouTube, where there's just still so many problems, and the biggest ones have yet to be established. But there are a few that, they have gotten better than how they were back years ago, I guess.
Right. And, I mean, let's be real here. The prison system is corrupt. Like, there's no arguing that. No, like, why are there private prisons? Why does there need to be a person who can, like, why could someone like me go buy a plot of land and apply to be, like, a person that runs a prison?
By the way, just to quickly mention, $5 super chat, Abyss Fivian, I think that's how you say it. I love the so-called anti-snowflakes are the ones who melt down into a tantrum when exposed to a reality running counter to their ideals.
Now, it's kind of funny. I've heard like right-leaning people say the same thing about the left.
I think if you look at the extreme of both sides, someone's going to melt down no matter what happens.
Oh, yeah.
Like, unless if something is super right or super left, anything that's like right or left to that will like piss off someone and start causing issues.
To me, this all just looks like a bunch of children just screaming at each other. Like,
it very much is. I mean, I don't know why I got so angry. I was like, man, mentioning that school shootings exist is some real leftist bullshit. Let me tell you that much. I couldn't possibly fathom. Like, I'm assuming that commenter probably talking about like Coonskin and Last Days of Freedom, but I'm really hoping it wasn't If Anything Happens, I Love You, because like more than anything, more than any political ideology, I'm anti-scam. All right, anyone who lies to people to get their money, I think needs to be shot and hanged. Like, stop manipulating people. Stop using the death of children to make money. That is not that is not how capitalism should work. And it's sad to me when I see people like Alex Jones and like the other big crazy people saying that like
there's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them. But like anyone who says like, oh, these shootings, they just didn't happen. It's a government conspiracy, crisis actors. It's like, stop. Just stop. People are actively grieving still. And
yeah, I remember like, I don't know, back in the like a while back, the Sandy Hook shooting. Like,
yeah,
my initial reaction was like my jaw dropped and I couldn't believe like that happened. But in the back of my mind, this voice comes up and goes, hey, somebody's getting ready to turn this into a political move. I don't know why that voice is Mickey Mouse, but within the hour, a whole bunch of people were already like planning legislation, and like I don't really see any altruism in it. I just saw them taking advantage of a situation, like just capitalizing on a tragedy.
Yeah, there's that's another thing that kind of sucks about politics, because like the moment you try to do something about it, your intentions are called into question. And honestly, most politicians are evil, so they should have their intentions called into question.
And I think that Alex Jones was like one of the biggest offenders in this because he was very quickly calling it a false flag, and he like initiated these like campaigns of harassment where like the parents of these children that were murdered.
Oh yeah, he and his buddy Wolfgang Holbeck. He used to work with this guy that was like claiming to be like an ex-special forces agent that's like worked in the White House as like Secret Service, and that he had insight that proved that these were crisis actors, and he was also selling fake magnetic bullshit that could apparently detect bombs using the power of magic.
I'm a crisis actor.
And he and Alex Jones worked pretty well together to sell $50,000 worth of fake bomb detectors.
Hey, Billy, what you been up to? Haven't seen you in a while. Oh, you know, I've just been doing my job. What do you do? I'm a crisis actor. They drop me all over the world, and I just act sad.
That's sad.
So what do you want to be when you grow up, Timmy? I want to be a crisis actor because I have crippling depression.
I want to look sad.
How does someone get into crisis acting?
Yeah, we just need the right application for your debilitating depression.
Just
well,
like
you gotta make sure you gotta apply in the crisis acting union so that you make sure you get your fair pay.
Johnny Depp, we need you. I told you I'm out of the game. I went straight. I make movies now. Johnny.
What are the like? What are,
America
like,
is at America needs you.
In crisis actor school.
America needs you, Johnny Depp. We need you to act one last time.
Make sure you sign this contract from SAG-AFTRA. Make sure everything is all good.
Yeah. As memeable as Alex Jones is, almost everything he says is like grade A bullshit. And I'm someone who like I said, I don't really like to look into politics. I kind of just like to prefer to look into what's right, and whatever that happens to be, that's the side I try to be on. Now, when it comes to scammers and all those people, like I can't deal with them. My personal hero is James Randi, and fuck hell, he died. He died this year. God, James Randi died this year. Fuck. That guy was an absolute legend, but for like basically the last 100 years, that man has been fighting scams and bullshit and, you know, manipulation and parasocial relationships all the way till the end. And that guy, he's basically the inspiration for like a lot of stuff on his channel. I'm working on a video where I'm actually just gonna do a simple biography on the guy as like a tribute. But we lost Larry King. I wonder if we lost B. Larry King yet, though.
B. Larry King. That depends on DreamWorks. We'll have to double check on. But then again, I guess with the memes of the B movie, I mean anything in that film forever live.
Yeah, that's true. And I guess in a sense, Larry King will also live as B. Larry King.
Oh yeah, true.
God.
Somebody has informed that we laugh like serial killers. How would you know that?
Thank you for the example.
You spent a lot of time around serial killers there, buddy? How many serial killers do you know, and are you a serial killer yourself?
I did that. That's one thing I used to do for my channel. I have a weird laugh, and I don't know why I developed it this way, but when I did my first creepypasta, I wanted to do like a psychotic Joker laugh, and that's why that video has 800,000 views. And I don't know, I just kind of grew into it. I don't really narrate horror stories anymore, mainly because like it's hard to find really good horror stories to want to narrate, and B, it's hard for me to like really get into that like mindset of wanting to do that, especially when I could create something that's more me and I can put
think
more
you're better
myself into.
used. I think your talent is better used in the format you're currently running with. I mean, we have so many voice narrator people.
Yeah,
Horror narration channels. We have so many of them.
That's another thing. I see. Oh god, there's so many like small horror channels now. And I don't even want to be mean to them, but a lot of them are very toxic. I'm so happy to not have to deal with a lot of them. And I'm not talking about anyone specific, so don't like try to twist my words against me, but let's just say I've come across so many smaller narrators, like sub 100,000, that just feel like they're entitled. You know, like when I first joined the creepypasta community, I had like a dude who quite literally made it his mission to prove that I was subbotting. Because he didn't like the fact that I got more subs than him in a month than he did in 2 years.
That's insecurity on a level that is,
yeah.
That is some insecurity that is absolutely fucking
that
wild.
person could do with having a life. Tell him to get a job.
Tell him to get a job.
Yeah, it really does sound like it's an issue with him more than anything. I mean, it's a common problem, but like lashing out at others on it, that's not the way to go.
Oh man, I would totally be willing though to do some like voiceover for like someone else if they want to do a creepypasta. Mainly because
like a character within a narration.
Yeah, like I can do that. That stuff's fun. I still like the acting part of it, you know? I kind of miss being able to act and like bring the character to life.
Yeah.
I'm so glad though that I kind of was able to get my start in the creepypasta stuff as opposed to just starting with lists, because that helped me kind of develop my range a lot more than like doing lists ever did. Because I used to write lists and narrate for Tats Tops videos, so like that's how I got my start.
That's a fun channel.
Oh, dude, yeah, Tats' channel is absolutely amazing. You guys should go check that out. But what was that? Okay, back to disturbing cartoons because I keep getting distracted by YouTube.
We are so off topic. It's hilarious.
I know, it's great. But back to disturbing cartoons again. Animat.
Yeah.
So there's Wash with Bashir. What was Wash? Did I say Wash with Fuck.
Walt.
Waltz
Like
with Bashir. Yeah. What was that other animation that?
Yeah. Waking Life. Okay. So. Okay, I'm going to be very honest because it's going to be very hard to talk about without going into spoilers. So I'm just going to say right now, this is going to be a very spoiler-centric discussion about Waking Life, because this is from the filmmaker Richard Linklater, who also recently did Boyhood, and with that movie,
he also did Scanner Darkly too, didn't he?
Yeah, he also did A Scanner Darkly. That's another animated movie that he did with Robert Downey Jr., funny enough. But the thing with Waking Life is that like it seems strange and it seems slow at first. Like you don't get what's going on because it's a guy, you know, going through his mundane life while also like you see a bunch of interviews talking about this person. But then more and more and more, you start to realize what all the discussions are about and how everything connects together. And it's that the main character is dead. It's the fact that they're talking about his life and like the condition that he's in and that he's slowly slipping away like from his life. And you don't realize that until the end when you see the dude just randomly rising up to the sky. It's like, what's going on? And then that's when you realize what they're talking about and what they're getting into. It's a discussion about death.
That is very different from my interpretation. But then again, really? I haven't seen the movie in like over 10 years, so I would cast more merit to your interpretation than I would my own, because I don't know. At the time when I watched it, I thought the rotoscoping was really interesting, but I don't know. At the time, I just thought it was just pretentious nonsense, like a bunch of college kids talking about the world as if they understood it. And it's just like, I don't know. It annoyed me. By the time it was over, I just wanted
You don't get it. You don't know what life is like. You don't know what taxes and. And work at a fucking 9-to-5 job where you just
ever
want to.
Well, you ever meet somebody like that though? I mean, they're insufferable.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, I mean, it does have that attitude. It does sound like the kind of thing it would be, but then you watch the film, and that's when it takes a whole new story. It's like there is like when you do listen a little bit, that's when you start to see like the dots that are connecting. Like I will admit it's been a few years since I've seen it, and I could be wrong in my interpretation, but that's that's what I remember. What I got from Waking Life is that it's that disturbing level of how they would go and discuss about death, and how it like basically the main character that we follow is pretty much dead.
See, I was of the impression that they were discussing life. We're more like like what makes a person a person.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, yeah, of course. Like,
one of the lines that still would be like, one of the lines that still would be over the years, and I'm going to paraphrase this, is you go through so many different versions of yourself throughout the duration of your entire life, and yet the whole time you remain you every step of the way.
That's like some like psychological body horror shit.
Well, no, we're not talking about like, at the age of 13, I was a centaur. At the age of 18, I turned into a Cronenberg monster. No, I mean, I'm talking about like the personalities and like the interests and like the perspectives that you pick up along the way. And I thought the movie was an exploration of that concept. But then they also put a lot of emphasis on dreaming as well. Like, every time the kid would wake up, he would look at his alarm clock, and the numbers on the alarm clock would be dancing around, and that's a very common symptom of dreaming, is when you try to look at letters and numbers and what have you, they always bounce around. You can't read anything because that part of the brain that does that is not active. Something like that.
I know what that is like, though. I remember I did one time have a dream where the whole dream was me trying to read some documents, and then the moment I finally was able to open up the documents, I woke up, and I was like, "Damn it! Oh wait a minute, none of that mattered." And then I got up and continued the rest of my day.
Alex Jones was in that too. He had his own section where he was just screaming into a microphone.
I think Alex Jones should give up being a political commentator and just go into voice acting.
I don't know, man. That's where the money is. He's not just making money off of his own hubris, but other people are making money off of his hubris as well.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah.
My only weakness is my hubris.
Like how many like remixes of the Gay Frogs are out there?
That's what I mean.
I mean, you only could be a raving lunatic for so long till someone notices and decides to chronicle your life.
Oh yeah, like that when that time happened, I was like, I don't know if there's gonna be a moment that could like actually break Alex Jones for him to like officially stop, but it's just like at the rate that he's going, it's just ludicrous, and unfortunately, he has become like one of the worst influencers ever.
Does he even have a leg to stand on anymore? Because last I heard of him was when he lost all of his social media, his YouTube, his Twitter, his Facebook, all of it.
I think he still is like on his own channels, and I think he still gets regular viewers. I don't think he's hurting for cash, but I think he's certainly making a lot less money now.
Yeah, it's like he's way past his prime, but he still gets invited to like conservative conventions or rallies and stuff like that. Like there are still people who do look up to him and take his words seriously.
By the way, the funniest
doesn't he talk about lizard people and what have you? Like,
yeah, he does.
Like not just like, in like a hyperbolic, oh my god, he believes in lizard people, but like, he legit, like literally thinks that like Obama was a lizard person.
Yep.
What kind of there's no credibility there. As soon as you start talking like that, your credibility goes out the window.
He's a scam artist. That's my problem with Alex Jones. It's not that he's a right-wing crazy person, although he is. It's that he's a con artist. He manipulates people into believing these crazy ideas, and then he sells them solutions. You're scared of lizard people? Get my male vitality powder.
Your room is on fire. It's invisible fire, and it doesn't burn you. I'll sell you a glass of water for $80.
Yeah.
Not to mention how his solutions can also lead to very dangerous results.
Yeah, he doesn't care about that. I think the funniest
exactly.
I think the funniest thing about him though was that time when Eric Andre went to one of his rallies and got confused for a journalist, and he just kept saying "your mom" to him. He's like, look at this guy. He's trying to take down our rally. He's trying. I bet you think that. And he's like, your mom. And Alex Jones is like taking him super seriously. You know, I think a TV show that was centered around the idea of pranking Alex Jones all day, every day would be the funniest shit.
That
like
would be beautiful.
Get rid of impractical jokers. We only need one. Just like, can we trick Alex Jones into thinking there are lizard people at the mall?
Oh, that...
like that would be the funniest thing.
Put somebody in like a latex alligator costume.
Yeah.
Make them walk around. No, that's ridiculous. Oh my god!
It's Obama.
You've seen it here first, folks.
It reminds me of those cartoons where like where they want to try to get rid of someone and their solution is to just make them go absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it reminds me so much of that.
I mean, like, they're clearly looking for, like, a certain interpretation of reality. All you gotta do is feed it to them. The interpretation of reality is, on a fundamental level, completely psychotic and ridiculous. And all you gotta do is just, you know, present them in a very specific way and just feed it and let it grow and get louder and louder and louder, and it'll collapse in on itself. Inevitably, because most people are actually smarts and can see through that shit.
Oh, God. Man, I don't know. You guys, we could talk about Alex Jones all day. Like, the fact that he looks like a balding middle-aged man who's going through the Bruce Willis syndrome. The fact that he's, like, a little bit too round for, you know, what he should be. The fact that he says crazy shit about lizard people on the internet. The fact that there's a small subsect of the same species you and I share that actually believes him. The fact that he has, like, this overly gravelly voice that makes him, like, fucking funny as shit. like there's just so much to talk about there and so much to make fun of.
He tore off his own shirt during one of his live shows and ran across his studio screaming.
I bet this man is on a lot of Adderall.
Probably.
He
needs to take... If he like, with that amount of energy he shows... Like, he needs to take something in order to keep it up, or
male
try to
vitality powder.
Himself. Yeah, something like that.
That was like that was the biggest thing for me. He would like during the Sandy Hook thing, Alex Jones would start talking about like how it's a hoax, and then like a news organization would have him on their show, and then instead of answering any questions about like his horrible beliefs, he'll be constantly just promoting male vitality powder. So that's what he does. He says something crazy online, and then when the news media starts,
sell itself.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, I work with Wolfgang Holbeck, a guy who lied about being a Secret Service dude, and he says that it's totally fake. Buy my male vitality powder. and in a sense, these news media organizations were helping him promote his male vitality powder by being the only source of coverage of the male vitality powder.
What does the male vitality powder do?
Well, it's a powder. It's like a thing you put in your drink, I think, and it like makes you more alert,
more vital.
It gives you vitality. It's like Viagra and an energy drink all in one.
What is male vitality powder? Well, it's a powder and it gives you vitality.
Well, I mean, he's not
It's all,
wrong.
it's all right there in the name, you dope.
The thing about, like, a lot of people ask me, hey, what makes something, like, disturbing? Because, or someone will say, oh, it looks like you stretched the definition of what disturbing is. And, like, a lot of people seem to think that when I say something's disturbing, that it necessarily is horror or, like, spooky. But I really like I kind of classify disturbing as, like, how they do on Daria, which is anything that really makes you think and then also makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly fair. I agree with you.
Yeah, so like
that makes sense.
so that's like the common theme with the disturbing animations, or really any time.
Take Pinocchio for example. The kid turning into the donkey. That's the infamous one, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of not that scary to look at, but it gets scarier the more you think about it. Like these are children who are going to make the same mistakes that everybody else in the world are going to make. They're going to give in to temptation, go through a rebellious phase. Does that mean that they have to have their entire humanity stripped away and have the rest of their lives devoted to working in a salt mine?
Right. I think MatPat did a video on that actually, where he's like, "Oh, this is how much salt they could produce." Like,
so the question is they turn into donkeys, right? Does their brain transform from a human donkey? I'm sorry, from a human brain to a donkey brain?
In a sense, like that is iffy. I'll just say,
can they comprehend what's happening to them?
That's something they actually did establish. There are some that do, like, they get their brains turned into donkeys, but then there are some that they're still a kid. That they
don't want to be a donkey.
Yeah, I don't think anyone wants to be a donkey. Like, if you could get turned into an animal, like, donkey is pretty fucking low on that list.
The only person who was allowed to be turned into a donkey and, like, it would actually be a big gain would be Eddie Murphy.
I could think of a donkey advantage being a donkey. Yeah,
I would want to be like,
as long as you sustain your human perspective, you can. It's good for reconnaissance. It's good for infiltration. You just walk into a farm, the farmer you want to take out. Farmer walks by you kick him in the face, then you just run away. Donkey assassin.
I would be like a dog, or nope, I'd be a cat, because cats, like, kind of live longer.
But the point that I'm making though is that, like, once you start thinking about the broader implications of what they're doing to these children, like, do you think that when they go to the salt mines, they're gonna meet other donkeys that have been there, like, a lot longer than them? You think it's gonna be
no longer a kid. I'm just a donkey now.
You got Red from Shawshank Redemption as a donkey. He's like, I like to think that Pinocchio fought the good fight.
because like an additional part that does make it disturbing though in Pinocchio is that they never go back to the kids. Like,
that's right, like, no closure.
Yeah, because there is no closure. They never say whatever happened to those kids, or whatever happened to the coachman, or whatever happened to Honest John and Gideon. They just, like Pinocchio and Jiminy Cricket bailed, and that's it. It pretty much left to the interpretation of the audience to whatever happened to those kids that are turned into donkeys. And that adds an extra layer that kind of makes it extra disturbing, is because because the movie left the audience to guess what happened to them.
Yeah, like when you get to the end of the movie, right? Pinocchio becomes a real boy, and him and Geppetto, they start dancing around. They're so happy, and then the upbeat music plays when it says the end. But, like, after the movie's over, you're left to wonder how many more kids are gonna go through that cycle. How many more children are they gonna cycle? Like,
another thing that is a little nutter butters for me is that a lot of people will comment like, "Oh, this is something that Steve Reviews did." And I also want to say that I do love Steve Reviews. He makes absolutely amazing videos. But man, you can't talk about creepy animation without covering something that he's fucking covered. He's, like, talked about everything.
I might have something for you.
I bet you do. I probably should have consulted you before putting this list, but yeah, Steve Reviews has covered just about everything. That's actually why I didn't put Animal Farm on there, because I was like, oh look, it's another Steve Reviews one. So I tried to cover a lot of stuff that he hadn't touched.
I wouldn't worry so much about like covering the same thing that he covers. It's we're there for the content of that, but we're also there for your voice and your spin on it as well.
Yeah,
You'll be covering something that he covered as well, but your perspective might be differing from his perspective. So I mean, this is the internet. Sooner or later, everything's going to get covered.
Yeah,
No stone unturned.
Yeah, and I remember when that was like popular years ago, when that used to be called reviewer dibs. And there was a time when people had that mentality, especially like back during the height of the Nostalgia Critics popularity, where there are some things people couldn't review because it's like there's like, oh, reviewer dibs, you can't cover that because someone popular already did it. But nowadays, it's a bullcrap theory. It's like whatever, you could do whatever you want as long as you put in your own spin on your opinions or whatever, or like your own spin, like
oh
when you
my
can
god,
add your contribution to what you're talking about. Like,
but I wanted to do the episode on Courage the Cowardly Dog.
my biggest thing is that I don't want to like cover something that had been covered recently. I prefer to like at least let there be like a few months of separation.
That's fair.
And if there's also something like, oh, this guy reviewed it and he's going to say the exact same thing I'm gonna say, but he's probably gonna word it better, then I'm just not gonna. I'll find something else to talk about. Mainly because like for me, I want to say something different. I want to say something unique. I want it to sound like it came from me. But if failing to do that, I'd rather show you something that is weird and off the wall. That's why I really wanted to show off Where the Dead Go to Die, because I saw that film one time. I was like 15, 16. And I mean, fuck, that film like comes up in my head every now and again. I showed it to my roommate. He's now like singing a song that he keeps like singing this rap song that Jimmy made that I can't repeat here because it's a Jimmy Screamer Claus thing. And like, let's just say it's very hellish. It's and he'll do it just like to fuck with me. He'll be like, I'm like, oh god. But that's another reason why I wanted to cover the film, because a lot of people, including Animat, has basically said this is like the worst thing ever. But for me, it's like
I will admit that I will confess that nowadays I do feel like with my review I did go a little bit too far, especially with going towards Jimmy Screamer Claus. I already apologized to him, but still, it was one of those reviews that I do regret a little bit going a little heavy-handed on. Like,
yeah.
my opinion still stands on the on how this movie is. It's like
it's not a good movie. I do not recommend watch. It's like something you watch if you really just are interested in the creative process and you kind of want to see what happened and what like led to its creation, or what the creation, or what this thing is. But it's not a film you go to watch to have a good time or to experience something artistic. It's something to see a artist change. It's a transitional film in my eyes.
Yeah.
But that said, like, I saw so many people, especially people who are part of Channel Awesome, saying things like, oh, Jimmy's like endorsing pedophilia, or Jimmy is like this crazy person who like, and it's like, no, he's just like a metalhead.
No, but one thing I will say on the video, like in the Disturbing Animated Films video, like honestly, it was really fascinating to learn about the behind the scenes stuff and stuff like that. Like to learn about the history, like what got into his mind when doing it. Like, I'm not gonna lie, that's one thing that kind of got the gears in my mind running. Is like, that would actually make an interesting video in itself to talk about the history of this movie.
You could, and you probably should. I'd be completely fine with that. The creation of Where the Dead Go to Die is one of the most interesting things ever. It's the essence of, I'm out of high school now, I'm fucking making movies, bye mom, and that's cool. All right, I'm all
guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
Have you seen Channel Awesome's review on Pink Floyd's The Wall?
Unfortunately.
I tried avoiding that like the plague, but I did see a recent review
It's
by
not a
Folding
review.
ID.
It's not a review. That's the
Well,
problem.
no. I'm not talking about that. I'm view of that video by Folding Ideas. That
Yeah,
video
that's what
was
I
actually
saw.
really, yeah, that one was really good.
I did not see the Folding Ideas video. But
I remember I saw Channel Awesome a while back, and I'm just like, okay, this guy. Sometimes he's like an average batter. Sometimes he hits, sometimes he misses. And oh my god, with the wall, he wasn't even swinging in the right direction.
Oh no.
He wasn't even in the ballpark, dude.
Yeah,
Like-
I think the only good thing that you could really say is like, well, one of the animated creatures during that trial segment was hot, I guess. But that's like the only good thing that you could really find to say on that video.
I mean, dude, the wall is like I don't know. It's like monolithic, you know. It's huge. It's like one of the greatest albums ever made. It means a lot to me, and the movie shouldn't be held on account as the same as like let's say you're watching something like Citizen Kane. It's not like that. It's a completely different format of storytelling.
oh yeah.
And to go in there and like all of his grievances with the product was just so petty and stupid.
He didn't even really have grievances as much as he just like recapped it.
Let's talk about their interpretation of isolating yourself, becoming numb to the world, and not being able to cope with reality because of the circumstances upon which you grew up in. There's so many layers to look at. They didn't look at any of those. They just made fun of what they saw right in front of their face.
I think just so it's not a spoiler later, but Nostalgia Critic and more specifically Channel Awesome will be on this year's Worst YouTuber list. Now that all the dust is settled, and I can now definitively say that Doug Walker's kind of a shitty person.
Like I don't know much about Doug Walker.
I don't know, and just so you know too, I'm not like talking about the people that work with him. I'm not talking about Tamara or like the other people. I am 100% talking about Doug Walker, his brother, and Mike Michaud.
Oh
and,
god, yeah, Michaud.
And you can't divorce those people from the Nostalgia Critic property. You know, you can't do Death of the Offer here because the Nostalgia Critic, in a lot of like in very few words, is essentially a more nitpicky version of Doug Walker. You know, he's a character, but he's also Doug Walker's opinion manifest into a cartoon. And
it definitely does have a cartoony quality to him.
Yeah, and like there's a lot of stuff that happened behind the scenes, and I did some like fact checking and looking over some stuff, and yeah, no, Doug Walker, I'm just gonna say it right now, and I'll go into like more detail when I do the worst YouTuber list. But Doug Walker perhaps is probably the most degenerate piece of shit on this platform. I think his reviews, especially in the old days, are good. I think some of his content is very much enjoyable, but the person is a bad person, in my opinion.
There's definitely some production quality going on with his channel. Like, there's definitely some ambition taking place, but as for what's going on behind the scenes, I know nothing.
Yeah.
From the most that I gathered from the people that knew him, the biggest problem with Doug is that he's incurious. When he doesn't care about something, he does everything he can in order to avoid it. And a lot of the things he doesn't care about are kind of like the really important things, like including like the business side of making videos, like the numbers and stuff like that, as well as also like other people's works as well, or like even other people's feelings in a sense.
We just got a $1 super chat from Mikey Lugo. I really appreciate that. But yeah, that's actually kind of like the whole thing with like a lot of people associate the Nostalgia Critic with Angry Video Game Nerd just because they started similar times, and like one talks about games, one talks about movies. And James Ralph is loved so much more than the Nostalgia Critic because he hasn't done some of the horrible things the Nostalgia Critic has done. Like, whether we're talking about scams, certain reviews being objectively terrible, everything that happened with the Channel Awesome doc.
Yeah.
I used to have friends. Did you know Channel Awesome actually kind of got me a little fucked over? I
What?
was I got invited to a convention, which I won't say where it is. I won't say what it is, but I got invited to a convention, and the guy,
Ooh.
the guy who was talking for me, like I had a buddy of mine talk to the agent because I'm socially awkward. I'm autistic. I know I'm gonna say the wrong thing. I sometimes do. So I had my buddy who is more used to it, doing that, and basically because he was a part of Channel Awesome, the guest relations agent refused to talk to him because of some shit that Channel Awesome people tried to pull at that convention. And
Dang, really?
yeah.
Fucked it
Yeah.
up for everyone else.
So there's even like more drama that even I don't know about, that most people don't know about, but almost prevented me from going to a convention I was invited to. Not to mention too, the convention itself was very petty. The person running the guest relations stuff was absolutely terrible. I do not know how they got that job. But the fact is that people from Channel Awesome went to that convention and left such a bad taste in their mouth. The guest relations person tried to avoid me because the person who was representing me also was a Channel Awesome producer.
Oh.
Um,
Yeah.
So, I'm not. Basically what I'm saying is that wherever you go on the internet or in real life or in nerd circles, if you mention Channel Awesome, it's like invoking Voldemort. You know, it's like don't even bring them up here.
Which I would like to apologize for doing so, because like ever since I brought up the Nostalgia Critic, that's where like the can of worms just let out. But by the way, by the way, I need to get going because I need to go and grab a bite to eat. But it's definitely been fun being here.
Definitely. Have a good one, Matt. If you're still down to go for, I can probably go for another 30 minutes if you're down to do that, Axeman.
Yeah, sure.
All right, we'll see you later.
Take care, everybody. See ya.
Everyone say bye to Animat.
Bye-bye.
The Animat.
All right, and we just got a $5 super chat. Hi, Creepy Reading. Hi, Animat. I have autism too, Creepy. I'm glad we can agree on how horrible Channel Awesome has become. Yeah, it kind of makes it hard to, like, watch your videos. And just so you know, too, just because, like, I don't personally enjoy this, I don't think someone is cool or I don't like this person, I'm not going to tell you guys to not go watch their content. If you don't want to watch their content, please do so because you don't like the content.
I used to watch that guy all the time.
Dude, same here. I remember it was in, like, high school, and that's how we came across it. I was watching, actually, I discovered him first. I somehow came across a Nostalgic Critic video re-upload on YouTube, and then that led me over to Channel Awesome, where I binged all of his content up to that point. This had to be, like, 2012.
Right.
And, you know, at that point, he said he quit, so I was like, oh, damn. And then I discovered The Angry Video Game Nerd immediately after. And then I binged all of his content. And that was a brilliant time in my life. Basically, I had like 4 months worth of videos that I could watch day in and day out and never have to change a channel. It was amazing.
Before we all started ingratiating ourselves with all this YouTube drama.
I absolutely, but you know, that was probably like the best time to be a content watcher for me, just because there's so many channels that I hadn't watched and that had just a catalog of content. Now it's like, man, I'm bored and I got nothing to do and I got an 8-hour shift ahead of me, so how am I going to fill the time?
That's basically it.
Yeah. And yeah, some of his older videos I still think are good. It's not like he says something that, like, honestly, his problem has nothing to do with his content, although the wall review is disgusting and is terrible. It's more fun to dissect than it is to watch.
It's more baffling than it is, like, offensive. Like, it's It's just like, why? Why would you go there? Why would you do that?
Are you from
What was
Boston?
Yeah. What are you
I just noticed.
like? What are you attempting to accomplish here?
Um,
You're discrediting a video that came out in the freaking 70s.
and it's like it's not even like comment. I can't even say it's commentary. You know, it almost feels like its own thing, because like yes, it uses the wall as inspiration, but it doesn't show anything from the wall. It doesn't have any music from the wall. It has parodies that sound awful. And that's about it. And then at the end, he says, "Oh yeah, it's a little pretentious." That's it.
At the end, he's like, "Yeah, dude." During Brick in the Wall, is padding as hell, something like that.
Yeah.
And
KC
I'm like,
Burger has given our $5 super chat. Hey, Creepy, currently working on an animation myself. Not a disturbing one, but I hope you guys do more of these podcasts. It's fun to listen to you. Yeah, and my goal is to do a podcast after every video, and then a video after every podcast, and there we go. With the topic of the video being something related to podcasts. Of course, we're gonna get off topic because I have ADHD.
I think I might.
Yeah, like I just start talking about one thing and it goes on to another. God, Axeman, we got to get some of your animation. When next time I do disturbing internet animations, because I know I'm going to, because I love it. You know, Jack Stauber has made this one thing that is absolutely amazing, and let me go over to it.
If you're gonna throw one of mine on your, one of your videos, you should do one of like the older ones, like Thwomp or Doom Conditioner.
That one that's not even on your channel anymore.
Which one?
I don't know. The one about the dude with it was like a music video for a band, and the guy was like, just go make it awful.
Oh, Sausage Cathedral. Yeah, no. I took that off so I could. I privated that video because I wanted my monetization, but then I lost my monetization afterwards and found out that they were going to put ads on my channel anyways and just not pay me. So I unprivated Sausage Cathedral, and then YouTube privated it on me without even telling me.
Damn. So one of the things that I do want to talk about when it comes to disturbing internet animations is Jack Stauber again. I briefly covered him in a previous work, but he recently made this thing called Opal, and it was an Adult Swim thing. It's oh my god, it's beautiful.
Can you spell his last name for me?
Stauber, and that's the thing I want to talk about. But it's this musical. It's a musical short 12-minute animation, and it's about this little girl called Opal, who like. It's hard to talk about it without like heavily spoiling it, so I'm just going to spoil it. And just so you guys know too, I actually don't believe that spoilers ruin the enjoyment of a piece of media. If a spoiler ruins it, then it might not have been good. It might not have been good to begin with.
Yeah, I feel very similar.
So, but yeah, basically it's about this little girl, and she like leaves her house after like a song plays about this like loving family seeing her. And some like really cryptic like foreshadowing when she looks at a house across the street. Opal leaves her home and goes to this new house and like opens the door and comes in. And there's this like old grandpa looking character, and he's singing about why people on TV make it look so easy to breathe while he's like smoking on these cigarettes. And it has like some consumerism commentary in there. And then the next one is like she's like trying to run upstairs to get away from the man, and she passes by this room where there's this guy who has like 1 billion mirrors like focusing in on his face, and he keeps talking about himself, and he has a song about like how if he makes himself perfect, people will finally pay attention to himself. to him. And then when Opal tries to leave because like this is getting a little weird, he starts chasing her too, and she eventually makes it into this room where there's this like old drunken alcoholic lady, and she's talking about how she needs Opal to project her problems onto, and like how it's so nice to have a daughter that basically can make her feel better for being a piece of shit. Like, hey, I might be a piece of shit, but at least I have a kid. You know, that type of thing. And then she, like, finally makes it into the attic, and she looks across the, you know, like, looks out the window across at where her old house was supposed to be, and it turns out the old house was a billboard for a burger. Like, it was like a family sitting around a dinner table, and it was like, it was an advertisement for like a burger company or something. And basically the intro sequence was just the main character imagining she had a family that wasn't terrible. And it's like, I mean, there's a lot more to go into it. Like if I wrote it down and I really got into it, we could I could definitely like explain the themes and symbolism more, but it's like a stop motion animation. It looks absolutely insane.
I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at it right now. It's crazy.
My roommate sent it to me, and he's like, "Yes, do this," and I'm like, "We will do that." And we watched it multiple times, and it's absolutely honestly, for a while. I looked at it and I was like, wow, this is really goofy. But then I started to think about it and I was like, whoa, this isn't goofy. This is really fucked up. And I have to thank my roommate Alec. He's the one who recommended it to me. He's the one who forced me to sit down and watch it. And yeah, this is like going to be on the front page of the thumbnail if we do disturbing animations again.
I just sent you a link for another stop motion video. A little backstory behind this one.
It's called Total Recession, and it's by Durand Greg.
Yeah, so this video is just wedged into the darkest corner of the internet right now. Apparently, nobody knows it even exists. But when I first started animating, I spent time in a forum, hanging out with other animators, just learning together. And then this guy shows up, drops some stuff. So I started checking out his videos, and that's when I found this hidden gem just hiding in there. And it's called Total Recession. The description reads, stop-motion animation film made in '93, depiction of ugly side of Australian life. Yeah, and it's like watching a Tool video, and just the imagery that it invokes it's so crude, it's so disgusting, and it's also extremely striking. Like you got you got images of people like strapped to chairs, people having sex, but their sexual act is depicted by two hunks of meat just sitting on a bed, just moving around. Like you get the message that it's out of control. It's one of the
this kind of reminds me of some of your shot composition too.
It's just super creepy.
Oh God, yeah. I'm kind of scrolling through it right now, and it's very chunky. It's
very chunky.
That's the best way to describe it. It's chunky.
But it works for it, you know. Like everything in this video works together in tandem to produce just the horrifying world that this guy has created.
It definitely is.
Like it has like this happy-go-lucky, like almost like I don't care demeanor to it. Like all the characters are just like at some point in time, this guy shows up and just starts doing stand-up, or like starts doing gymnastics, but his nipples are taped up. He's got he's blindfolded and he has no lips, so his face is just this toothy grin. Looks like something out of Hellraiser.
God damn, yeah, this is top 5. Have you seen top 5 animations containers on YT? I've probably not. There's I've seen a lot of stuff, and I get recommended stuff all the time. So it's hard for me to go through all of it. But that's one of the weird things I get when it comes to disturbing animations. Like or like disturbing anything, I'll like talk to my mom about it, and I'll be like, Mom, this thing, it's absolutely amazing, and it's glorious. It's horrifying. It's everything at once. And my mom will be like, the people who made this need to be like kept on a watch list. And it's like, but like it's art, you know?
It's
like,
interpretation of the world through their viewpoint.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, what you're seeing is messed up, but there's a sense of catharsis that you get as a viewer. Like, yes, this type of stuff happens in real life, or like this type of gore or these types of ideas are in real life, and disturbing media is a way where you can confront that on your own terms. It won't make you feel good, but it will make you feel more complete, if that makes sense. Like, you know, everything, it's hard to explain, but like, with King of Pigs, this is the best one I can describe. You know, like, people always talk about, you know, the philosophy, or like what happened, like, oh no, we need to stop giving kids guns so that they don't commit horrible shootings. And like, I'm in agreement there. We shouldn't give children personal firearms. But like, what makes a kid want to shoot a school or like commit violence against another child in the first place? That's an idea that's hard to confront for a lot of people. That this isn't just a random act of violence, that the person isn't just, you know, crazy, that the person in their own head might have had a logical progression that led to their current actions. And that's a concept to me that, you know, makes it a bit more scary. But it also gives me more perspective. It makes me open to the idea that this problem may have like multiple facets to it that can be looked at. And that's what like, when a disturbing movie is done well, when it gets you to think about something that it normally wouldn't.
And that's the thing about art too, is that it tends to be pretty nebulous, very hard to bog down, you know, especially when it's like very broad and open. It's like, it's susceptible to any form of interpretation you could think of, and if one of those interpretations
is, yeah, like, that's another thing too. Like, there's always like a lot of room for interpretation when it comes to disturbing media, mainly because, well, it's hard to even make disturbing media to begin with. I'm pretty sure you understand how hard it can be. Because
I can't not be disturbing when it comes to my art. I tried to draw nice things, and people still tell me it was creepy.
Well, like, I mean, even like less about like the creation of it, more like getting it out there, you know? Like, you can't you can't just say, I'm going to make a you can't just pull Jimmy Screamer Claus and be like, I'm going to make a fucked up movie. You know, you can't do that. Who's going to distribute it? Who's going to screen it? Is the MPA just going to give it an X rating? Like that, in the beginning of the video, that's actually what I was talking about. The MPA is probably the biggest reason why we do not get more disturbing media.
Yeah.
Because, like, like, if you, I don't know, it's like,
if you rate higher, you're basically shutting down a percentage of your audience.
Right, like, being an R-rated film would be hard enough, but most of the time when it comes to disturbing movies, it gets the X rating, which means that no one can see it, and people that do get it basically look like they're buying porn.
That's it.
And at that point, you got to think about being able to make your money back and what's good, you know, compromising the vision of the art or making sure that everyone at the studio gets paid. And the MPA, especially in the early 2000s, which, you know, tightened their regulations, basically makes it impossible for films to be presented in the way that they should be, according to the artistic intention of the creators. Now, if you're Zack Snyder and you're putting your films in 4:3, I'm sorry, but you're on crack and you need to stop. But If in terms of like scenes, like for example, in the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I think they took out a like 3-second scene of a dude getting his ear chopped off. And it wasn't even like that bad, but it's like the better you do with the effects of like, you know, being, you know, in a slasher film, the better you do in the effects, you know, giving the people what they're wanting for a slasher film, the less likely you're going to be able to show those effects. And it's like, why does the X rating even exist? Do we, like, if you're able to watch an R-rated film, you should be able to watch an X-rated film. And considering that most X-rated films aren't just porn, because who the fuck's gonna, like, it's porn. You don't need to get it rated. It's what it is. You know, like, it's just, people don't think of X as like, you know.
I'm just picturing that. You know, you go and confront the NBA. It's like, hey man, you guys gave my video a X rating. What's wrong with you? Why would you do that? Okay, hold on. We'll open a claim. What's the name of your video? Yeah, Backyard Slut 7.
With special guests from Axedad. Backyard Slut 7 with special guest appearance by the AXEMAN, and it's like a dude in a gimp outfit. Oh God.
Oh man, that is wild.
Oh God, that stuff is good though, but it always like bothered me too. Like, okay, a movie's R-rated. You need to be 18 years or older or have parental consent to watch the film, or like purchase the film or like receive it in any way. And it's like an X rating is for people who are 18 years or older. Like why does there need to be a distinction? What like when you turn 18, do you just become a super adult where you can just consume anything except for alcohol?
Super adult is not the word I would choose.
What word would you choose?
When you turn 18, you're just a kid. You're still a kid.
Definitely.
You're still a kid until like you reach 30 or something.
Honestly, in my opinion, you're still a kid until you know what it's like not knowing how you're going to pay rent even though you're working a full-time job. That's when you become an adult. Once you've understood what it's like to have like that kind of responsibility and have that kind of stuff held over your head and having to deal with people who hate your existence because you exist.
It's like, I feel like, you know, most people should just go out there in the real world, you know, work their jobs and just understand how it all works, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Like, you know, it's like, I can't afford this. I can't afford this. It's because of rampant capitalism. No, it's because you're not working. You're not doing anything.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, when I was talking about the X rating and X and NC-17 are the same thing, basically.
Like you go out into the world, understand how it is, come to terms with the fact that it is unfair, and then just learn to survive in it. You know, I'll be more inclined to listen to you. But like if you're just a kid screaming, then I'm just gonna ignore you.
Yeah, that's the thing that was hard for me to understand. A lot of the world very much is unfair. Like, for example, working at a gas station, I have to put up with this person coming in every day, talking mad shit to my face, and then I also have to sell them $400 in lottery cards.
Oh man, he sounds like an asshole.
I would love to kick him out, but I can't kick him out. And the fair thing would be for me to be able to kick him out, but I can't because I got to pay rent, and I can't find a job fast enough to pay rent, so I got to suck it up. And like that's basically the reality of the world we live in. You got to do a lot of things you don't like and work for people who you think are pieces of shit just so you can survive. Now, keep in mind, there are, of course, exceptions to that. You could be naturally rich. You could be lucky. You could happen to stumble into a career where you can be your own boss, and that would be great. but not everyone can do that, and most people aren't used to that kind of living. And it's kind of interesting when you get to see like a media that can convey that feeling you get, that restrained anger while having a smiling or a happy demeanor. It's an existential type of horror. It's why I like Agretsuko so much. God, I love Agretsuko. That show.
I'm not sure what that is.
It's I got a tattoo. But it's a Netflix original, and I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not disturbing in any way. It's a office comedy about anthropomorphic Sanrio stylized characters dealing with their job and expectations, and also trying to have a fulfilling life, and dealing with parents, and dealing with all the expectations that society has upon you, and figuring out how to do so while being as happy as you can. And it navigates everything from like romantic relationships to like dealing with a boss that actually wants your head on a platter. And the type of anxiety that comes from not knowing if you're going to be able to work the next day because you said something that you probably shouldn't have said, but it's too late to take it back now, and you do not know how everyone else is going to react to it. There's a lot of catharsis in that series.
Uh-huh.
And that's why I've dedicated my let's just turn on the webcam real quick. Webcam, and on. That's why I got a couple $100 worth of Agretsuko posters on my wall, and the Agretsuko shrine. I'm kind of a fucking freak for this show, but it really did mean a lot to me.
I'm not seeing your webcam.
Oh, it's it might take a second for the YouTube to.
Oh, I see it now.
Yeah, but as you can tell, there's the there's my posters on the wall. Those are actually disc plates. The big ones, those are disc plates.
I can see the top of your head.
Yes, you can. I'm gonna turn off the webcam now though, because I look gross, and I am a gross person. And I don't know. I absolutely love it. Anyway, I feel like 2 hours is enough time to talk about fucked up cartoons. Did you?
Is that how long have you been going on for?
Yeah, that's how long we've been here for.
Oh wow.
Time flies by when you're like talking about horrible things that happen to people.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
no, I'm gonna have to look into Channel Awesome. That sounds interesting.
There's a lot of crazy stuff, and it only recently settled, so that's gonna be wild. But yeah, I guess the last thing I kind of want to go over, in terms of like the video and all that, is that when I cover disturbing media or anything to do with like creepy stuff, my goal isn't necessarily to bring up my own political opinion, although I do have those, and certainly everyone does. But when you click on a video that's about, fucked up, creepy cartoons, you don't want to hear my opinion about, the world and how everything should be ran and all that jazz. I'm a 23-year-old nut job, right? I don't know how to answer these questions. My goal is to merely present the viewpoint that the film has, and, maybe that will interest you into hearing more about what the film has to say. Because, no one wants to, be watching a video and then in the middle of that video hearing the guy go like, yeah, Donald Trump, isn't he an Oompa Loompa? Am I right, guys? Political humor. You don't need that in my silly video about
You're also
animations.
You're also in the year of 2021. If you touch anything that's controversial, it's probably just a matter of time before everybody starts talking about Trump.
Yeah, that's true. And it kind of sucks that it is that way. Because, the point of the video isn't necessarily to talk about politics. It's mostly just to talk about films. And let's face it, some of the most disturbing films that's ever been made are about politics and horrible things people in power have done to people who don't have power.
Well, that's kind of a given, you know. That's
It's a given, but some people clearly do not understand.
Throughout the course of like the human race, there has always been a tyrant that is, you know, known for doing something terrible.
Right. You know, it's just, and that's just like kind of that's like a touchstone fear that everyone has. The fact that the idea that someone who's above you, the idea that someone who has more power than you will do anything in their power to make your life hell. And that's scary, you know?
I've been living in that world for quite some time.
Either way, this is Axeman. We'll definitely, if you check in the description below, both Animat and Axeman's cartoon. I can't talk today at all. Linked in the description is
fine.
Yeah, linked in the description is Axeman and Animat's channels, and you guys can go watch it. I appreciate you guys watching us live for over 2 hours, and anyone who donated to Super Chat, you guys are cool too. With that said,